What's up, guys? It's a Fluffy Angel here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to post this video here today as it's the first in a new series going on this month here on the channel, and that is Spooktober. This entire month we will be posting horror-related content including manga, anime, streaming horror games over on the Twitch channel, and just pumping out great content for you guys that I'm hoping you would enjoy. But without further ado, let's get into today's video, and we are going to be discussing Doubt. It is a manga series by Yoshiki Tonogai. He has other famous works as well, such as Judge, Secret, and most recently Dead Company. He's also an artist for Hirogashi When They Cry. He did illustrate one of their arcs. But without further ado, let's get right into what Doubt is really about. Doubt is a manga series about a group of teenagers who partake in a mobile game called Rabbit Doubt. The objective of this mobile game is to try and figure out who is the wolf hidden among this pack of rabbits. Obviously, if the wolf is not found, then all the rabbits will be killed and the game is over. The group of teenagers decide to meet up at a karaoke bar so they can get to know one another before the game starts and to just kind of have some lighthearted fun. The group of teenagers consists of Yu, Eiji, Rei, Mitsuki, Haraka, and Hajime, and they each play their own role in the story, which I really enjoy. The teenagers suddenly wake up in an abandoned building with barcodes on their bodies, and one of them is dead. The story then follows the group of teenagers trying to figure out who among them is the wolf, and also try to figure out how to get out of the building alive as well. If you don't want any spoilers going forward, I recommend skipping to here, as I just want to delve a little bit more into the story to kind of incentivize people to really give this manga a shot and go out and read it. But like I said before, Rei is the one that is dead. She is pinned to the wall, and the group of teenagers are freaked out. They, as anyone should, seeing one of their friends dead, and they immediately start blaming one another. Yu, the main character, is the only one that doesn't have a barcode, which does lead to some serious repercussions later on in the story that he did not intend, as he decides to keep this a secret from himself. Throughout the story, it continuously gets gorier and bloodier, and there's a lot of psychological horror elements that I really enjoyed, as these characters are pinned in a dark, abandoned room with, no view of the outside world. They are freaked out by the characters dying one by one, and they are constantly blaming one another as to who is the killer. The story is really intriguing, as I couldn't even figure out who the killer was. Normally in these types of series, you can kind of tell right away, okay, this guy's a little shady, but the ending really took me by surprise as to who the killer actually was, and really threw me a curveball that I did not expect whatsoever. And like I said, a lot of the points in the story, there is a lot of gore and, blood. So if you're really into horror manga that has a lot of those aspects, I highly recommend it, as it really doesn't shy away from these elements in the story and really pitting people against one another, which is an element I really liked as well, as a lot of these characters are being psychologically abused and tortured as they try to figure out who this killer actually is, but they don't have any, real answer as to who it could be, as, like I said, there's a lot of twists and turns that are unexpected, and new plot elements are revealed every couple of chapters. Even for a shorter series at 21 chapters, this is how a mystery should unfold. Unlike my last review that I did, where I complained that the story was moving too fast and presented a lot of elements that just seemed out of the blue and convenient for the story's sake, here it really takes its time to develop each one of the characters and their backstories, and how their backstories actually feed to where they were when this incident occurred. which I really enjoyed. This series really reminds me of Saw, where it doesn't really have, the gory, super gory elements of the traps and whatnot, but it does have a lot of that psychological horror and the tension among the humans, as realistically, if they worked together to try and figure this out, most of them could have came out alive. But unfortunately, as they were scared and overcome with a lot of emotions, they start to kind of put a barrier amongst themselves and hide information and really start to turn one another just based off of assumptions. So I really enjoyed the series for that fact. But without further ado, I want to delve a little more into the cast of characters itself. The cast of Doubt is really small, which I actually enjoyed. There's not a lot of major players in the story, and because of that, the story doesn't become bogged with, your core group of characters and then a bunch of miscellaneous side characters that don't really matter. I think it's really important, in shorter series like this, as you can really develop each one of these characters to have their own personalities and their own traits as well, which I really did enjoy. I think that Yoshiki Tonogai did a fantastic job at making sure that each one of these characters had a central role to this story. And each one of these characters has their own baggage and backstories that ultimately led them to be chosen to participate in this real-life game of Rabbit Doubt. And like I said, the twist at the end really blew my mind in terms of, a major connection that there is between some of the characters in the story, and how that, these small little interactions from one character to another led to so many deaths and so many repercussions that, at the end of the day could just lead to someone, going unhinged like that and snapping and deciding to do something like this. But like I said, each one of the characters are, they're very unique, and they each have their own backstories, which I really enjoyed. There was not one character that I didn't like or didn't feel as if had enough development. Each served its own purpose in the story and allowed the story to progress forward in a very smooth way. And there was no downtime at all in terms of showing who these characters were, and there wasn't overuse of convenience plots where the character had a barcode that no one told about, or they actually had this secret ability that they didn't know about and they didn't want to tell anyone, but it solved the whole mystery. It felt very natural, and I really enjoyed each one of these characters in this ensemble in this horror manga. The next aspect I wanted to discuss is the artwork of the manga itself. As you see, I've just been keeping my eye on these covers and some of the interior illustration panels, as I absolutely love it. It's so grimy and creepy, and as you can see from my background, reading this in the middle of the night and just having, some of these really disturbing imagery in the story, pop at you, is really great. Though the character designs do feel really bland. As you see, Hiraka, Rei, and Mitsuki, they all have these generic, shonen, not really shonen, shoujo girl, outfits, and Edgy and Rei, fit the personality of, you as being the main character who's shy and timid, and Edgy being the big bad guy who has to act tough and stuff like that. So they each have their own stereotypes in terms of their visual looks, but each one of these characters have really unique backstories, which I really enjoyed, and especially some of the brutal action sequences where there's a lot of gore involved and a lot of blood and violence. I think that was illustrated very well as it didn't, shy away, but it didn't overly do it as well. It did it in a very realistic way, which I really enjoyed and really commend the mangaka for doing so. But like I said, the character design does feel a little bland, but I think it was done on purpose, as a lot of these characters have really unique backgrounds, and the story itself is really, outlandish, to say the least. So I think it's a nice contrast to see something that you think is going to be generic, and it turns out to be a really intriguing psychological horror thriller. So I really did enjoy, the visual element of this manga itself. The art is absolutely fantastic for what this series is, though the character design is a little bland. The, environments, the flow of the panels, the action sequences, and the horror and blood itself, I think is really great. Although Doubt isn't perfect, I highly recommend it for anyone looking to get their horror fix. At just 2 volumes, at least released here in the US by Yen Press, it is perfect at, presenting a story in a consolidated form, and it's only 21 chapters long, but I think it did a fantastic job at conveying the horror that anyone could be placed in the situation and presented against these really overwhelming odds to try and figure out who this killer actually is. It really does a fantastic job at keeping the reader guessing constantly as who the wolf is among these rabbits. And I think it had a very satisfying ending as well that I did not see coming. And if you're a really big fan of the Saw series, this is a must-read for you. Like I said, it's a short series, it's readily available, it's not out of print, you can easily find it in your local bookstore or online, which is very great, especially, like I said, it's the Halloween season. What a perfect time to sit down, snuggle up, and read a good horror manga. But that's all I have to say about Doubt, folks. I really do hope you pick up this series and give it a chance yourself. Let me know down below if you've actually read this and what your thoughts were on it. I'd be really interested to hear what your guys' take is on this. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate all your support. We made it to 50 subscribers, guys, so I'm really pumped to continue bringing more content over here to the channel for you guys. Like I said, this is a first video in a series that I'm excited to launch here on the channel called Spooktober, where this whole month I will be posting horror-related content for you guys at home to enjoy during this, festive season. If you do feel so inclined to do so, please share this review with your friends. Let them know about Doubt. This is a fantastic series. Like I said, go out, read it. It's really underrated. I haven't heard many people talk about it, and I really do hope it gets more attention, especially now. It's, like I said, it's within season, so might as well go out and read it. If you feel so inclined to do so, please subscribe down below. Click that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload. Please let me know down in the comments if you guys have read Doubt and what you guys thought of it. And also, by the time this video is up, I will be streaming over on my Twitch channel. Please feel free to go check it out. Hang out with me for a couple hours while I go play some games. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Enjoy it, whatever you're doing. As long as it makes you happy, go for it. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night.